to another episode of the Here We Go. And it looks like I was just muted. I just muted myself. What a way to start the show, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Here We Go Brownies podcast. I'm your host, Allie Heisong, coming at you from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, as you can see. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And of course, joined with me is my friend Dustin. He's going to join us here in a second. But to get started, guys, I want to first thank you all for joining. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you, guys. If you're new here, go like, share, follow, do all of that good stuff. But at first, a quick shout out to our good friends over at McGrew Designs for our wonderful mugs and prizes that we send out to you guys. So guys, want to get started. Jam-packed show for you tonight. I mean, absolutely jam-packed. We've got Browns news for the first time in what seems like forever. David Njoku wants out of Cleveland. Olivier Vernon restructures his contract. So lots to get to on this episode of the Here We Go Brownies podcast. So we're really excited to dive into that once Dustin joins us. But again, thank you. Thank you for joining. If you are new here, go ahead and follow us. We appreciate you. So let's get started on this. Before I forget, if you have forgotten, or if you are new here, we are going to be doing a virtual happy hour, myself with Dustin, on Friday, July 10th at 8 p.m. And we are going to do a Zoom invite out to you guys. You can join us and have a beer with us or your choice of beverage and have a very casual conversation about Cleveland Browns. So that will be on July 10th at 8 p.m. If you are interested, we will send out that invite. Let's go ahead and have Dustin join us. Dustin, hang on, give me a second here. Let's get you on here. Dustin, I think I just messed up. There we go.
Hey guys.
There he is. How we doing?
Good. How are you doing,
Boise? What's going on out there?
Good. Well, we're just having a bunch of spikes in COVID, so just like the rest of the world right now. Interesting enough, though, everybody out here seems to be in the 18 to 49 area that's getting the COVID. So it's just really weird. It's kind of been the flip of the switch. A lot of people have been going out. I won't be surprised if we don't have a mask mandate like a lot of other places do. But it is what it is. I think we'll get through the summer. But obviously, we have a jam-packed show and a lot to get to.
Lots to get to. I just talked a little bit about the virtual happy hour. Any additional information you want to add there?
Well, I think it's really exciting. I talked to Josh over the weekend. He's going to join us from across the pond. I'd like to challenge some of our listeners out there and everybody that tunes into the show. We would like to try to get somebody from every time zone. And obviously we'll have somebody from Wales, right? But if we can have somebody from the Pacific, the Mountain, Central, and the Eastern time zone, that would be really cool. Basically everybody from 6 o'clock, from 5 o'clock, 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock across the entire country would be really cool to get everybody across, because we know, as we all know, there's a lot of transplants that have left Cleveland. And I mean, Allie's one of them, that grew up in Ohio and now lives in somewhere else, of course. But I think it would just be really cool to have Browns fans from around the world, right? So, and we technically will with Josh joining the show. So what we'd also like to do is, if you guys can RSVP ahead of time, we will be looking for you, and we'll make sure that we can get you into the show. Alan and I talked about this. I think we probably, with the two of us, want to limit it to 12, so there's not a million little, nobody can see each other. But if we do it to 12, we'll just be one big Brady bunch. So, but maybe 12 of us. And honestly, we just want to kind of have a chat and just catch in with everybody, see how their summer's doing. And we just want to give back to you guys as a thank you and say, we want to, and also we'll have some random prizes to give away for that show. We won't kind of
always do.
We won't give away that secret, but we'll give a prize to one of those 10 people other than Allie and I. But we're excited for it. We haven't done one of these, but we've talked about it for weeks. It seems like, hey, let's do a virtual happy hour for our fans. And all of a sudden we're like, yeah, we're going to do it. So you get 2 shows this week from us. Technically, you get this one and on Friday.
And it's going to be really exciting, because we all know that with what's going on out there in the world, we can all use the day to relax.
Yes.
Have a beer.
And it's a Friday, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, let's get started. Let's dive in, Dustin. We've got tons to get to. As I mentioned, Browns news for the first time in a while. You got David Njoku wanting to get out of Cleveland. He requests a trade, Olivier Vernon. But let's dive first into David Njoku. What we know is a couple days ago, he fired his agent. Then he goes out and he hires Drew Rosenhaus. And immediately after that, he goes to Andrew Berry and requests a trade. So my first question is, what the heck? My initial thought, Dustin, before we dive into this, my initial thought was taking a look at the Browns offseason, whether that's bringing in Andrew Berry as the GM, whether that's going out and getting Kevin Stefanski as the head coach, and what he implements as an offense, and then bringing in the pieces, Austin Hooper, Harrison Bryant, all of those guys that are going to benefit David Njoku. This
Right.
is not a Duke Johnson situation.
Right.
When Duke Johnson, he saw the writing on the wall. He said, they just went outside and Kareem Hunt. They have Nick Chubb. My time here is done. That's
Right.
not the case for David Njoku.
Right.
All these pieces that were brought in from every realm were put in place to get the most out of a guy like David Njoku. If I'm David Njoku, I'm looking at this and saying, what an opportunity for me to have a comeback year. We know last year he was injured, had a lot going on. He was in the Freddie Kitchens doghouse. Wasn't good. But this could be his comeback year. And they just exercised the 5th-year option. So my initial thought is, what the hell?
Well, here's my thought. Just looking at it from the outside looking in, he felt pretty good after the 5th-year option. He thought he might have a chance to make the roster, contribute to the team. Then they signed Hooper. So he's like, there's the shiny new guy. They're going to obviously not sign him to that big a deal if he's not going to get a lot of production and playing time. And I think maybe for him, then the draft came, right? And they draft a tight end. So all of a sudden that room gets more crowded, right? And all of a sudden he's like, well, maybe I might be the odd man out. I don't know. So he kind of looks at it from that standpoint. And he's probably like, well, I think I'm a number one. I was a 1st-round draft pick. Yes, I had an injury, but maybe my value is better than I think it is. I don't like my agent. I'm out of him. I'm gone. I'm going to go get a guy that I know can get a deal done possibly. It'll be interesting to see what the Browns do. Once somebody says they want to trade, that it's out there, it's kind of hard to say, well, what do we do with them now, right? Are we just going to let them be there and not be happy? Or it's a tough situation for the Browns to be in because they obviously wanted him on a deal. They kept him on that 5th-year option, to your point, and to keep him around, and thought they should get some productivity out of him and see how he bounced back from an injury year. But when you hire an agent and they go to the front office and say, my client wants to, it's almost like giving your 2-week notice at work, right? Like, hey, you can keep me, if you give me a significant raise, which I know you won't, but I want out. So it's a tough spot for the Browns. It'll be interesting. Like what value will he get, cause that's my biggest thought. So.
Yeah. That kind of brings me to my next point is what value is there for David Njoku? Like I mentioned, if you want to take a look back, at the 2017 draft class, you have in the 1st round, Myles Garrett, Jabril Peppers, and then David Njoku.
Right.
We can go back and say, well, we could have had Myles Garrett, Deshaun Watson, or we won't play that game. But then
could have had Patrick Mahomes. No,
you could have had Pat. Don't even get me started. We'll talk about his new deal here shortly. Yeah. But David Njoku, he has probably his career year in 2018 with Baker Mayfield, his rookie season. He played a key role in that offense. He was a good target in the middle of the field. Obviously, always had issues with his hands, dropping passes. But he's a huge red zone threat. Very reliable within the 20-yard line. Always has been.
And Baker would go to him because he knew he had the sure hands and would be able to go above guys in the end zone like, hey, throw it up. I'll get it. Let's go.
Well, that's exactly it with David Njoku. He's a little bit different than your prototypical tight end in the NFL. Like when you look at a guy like Austin Hooper, George Kittle, or Zach Ertz, they're those big-bodied, pass-catching, blocking tight ends. But with David Njoku, he's almost a big-bodied wide receiver that can go up and make those basketball-style plays.
He's very athletic.
Yeah. Very athletic. So he's a perfect complement to Austin Hooper.
Right.
But my point here is in 2018, has a career year, promise, upside, coaching, everything. He just needed a little bit more development. And they always knew that was going to be the case. He would always need some development because he didn't start playing tight end until later on in his career.
Right.
Then we go into 2019. Now we can blame this on the injury. We can blame this on Freddie Kitchens. Last year was weird. We all know this, but same thing with Hollywood Higgins, same thing with Demarius Randall, David Njoku. They all were weird in that offense. They didn't get on that team. It was weird. So he didn't have the comeback year that he should have had.
Right.
to say
And
this
then
is
the
what my
injury,
value is.
and then the injury on top of it just
The
was.
injury on top of it.
Yeah.
So there was no, at this point he doesn't have a ton of leverage. The
Right.
Browns don't have to trade him.
Right.
And if they do at this point, if they were to just trade him for picks only, I think that the highest they could get would be a conditional third round pick.
Yeah. Or low second round, maybe. Right.
Maybe,
Right.
maybe. But before we get into some of the trade
But
speculation,
the Browns may hang on to him well into training camp too, and
and
then
they
a
could,
team has an injury, and they need him, and of course his value goes up, right? Because it's always a wants versus need league, right? Like if you lose your quarterback, all of a sudden the guy that's your backup is very valuable to another football team, right? So it's like,
yeah.
so yeah, so I mean, they
You
may
know,
they may hold out and wait to see, for the highest bidder. You just don't know. It'll be an interesting situation all the way around.
and before we get into the trade speculation, because we know that's fun, we'll do that here in a minute. But looking at David Njoku, like I said, not a ton of leverage here. And kind of a weird time looking at the landscape of the league and the coronavirus and everything that's going on. We don't
Right.
know that there's going to be a training camp. We don't know that he's going to be able to go out there and prove what his worth is. Right now on the trade market, he's based off of his 2019 value. And I'll tell you what, Dustin, that's not very high. You have to
Right.
look back at 2018 film to see what he could be. He's
Right.
not there yet. It's what he could be.
Right.
So that's why I say at most a conditional third round pick. However, I've seen a couple articles with some pretty interesting speculation on pairing that with players and other picks.
Right.
What have you heard, Dustin? What's this mean for the offense? What are you thinking?
I don't for the offense if he stays. It was like back to your point. It was kind of weird with Duke Johnson, and Baker kind of had that calling out. If you're not a Brown, that whole like
Oh,
like kind of suave. So you're right. It is a weird time. I think the Browns don't have really a choice. I think they have to at least shop them now. At least see if there's any value out there, or if somebody will even entertain the idea. But at the end of the day, if they don't have any takers, he has to stay on the team and produce. And then if you're his agent, you can be like, hey, we tried this. Sorry, there wasn't much out there. It's kind of, I think both are at an impasse because we're so far down. This can has already been kicked down the road. We're into July. And now you're saying, hey, if this was March and you're like a Clowney, right? And you've been out there and you've been able to, kind of have a dress rehearsal with teams, go back and forth on that. But, we're a few weeks away from training camp. This is an odd time to say, I want out. It just,
yeah, it is. It's weird,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But my initial thought too was one, what the hell? This is weird. But two, I'm like, okay, again, they put all these pieces in place for a guy like David Njoku. They
Yeah.
go out and get Kevin Stefanski, who runs primarily two tight end sets.
Right.
Primarily, I think last year he ran 57% of the offensive snaps had two tight ends on the field.
Right.
And
you're going to get, even if you're the number 2 or 3 guy, you're going to get production in either way, right?
Yeah,
you're going to get the ball thrown
extremely
to you.
productive in this offense. It's perfect for David Njoku. It's perfect, assuming he can
Right.
stay healthy. So my first question is,
maybe we'll make a trade with the Falcons. No,
wouldn't that be something? What's this mean? Before we get into what it means for specific players, what's this mean for the Browns, for the offense? If I'm Kevin Stefanski and I'm Drew Petzing, what's going through my head right now?
If I'm being completely transparent, they drafted a tight end.
Exactly.
That's why they did a 5th-year option.
You're right.
This is Andrew Berry. He doesn't make, well, we don't know this yet, but this team has never struck me as one to sign big contracts unless it's on our key players. And then they build around that with not bargain players, but realistic contracts. And they said, look, if we can get something out of the tight end that we drafted and he has a stellar year, we got a steal, right? and he makes an impact in his rookie year and he's on a rookie contract for the next 3 years. Boy, and you have those two guys all of a sudden. And I think, to our point that I've seen with a lot of other people say, the Browns have a lot of two running backs, 2 tight ends. They have a lot of twos that a lot of football teams wish they had 2s of, right? And then when you have another tight end you draft, now you have 3s, right? And we know that I don't think, I don't know. I don't see a production drop off. I just don't. Just because um, the coaches we have in place, I think it's neutral. I don't think it's a up or down. I don't think it changes.
I think I agree with that. I don't think that this really drastically changes anything for the Browns
Mm.
offense. But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about the 2 tight end sets, even the 3 tight end sets.
Mhm.
Kevin Stefanski likes to throw that wrinkle in there. So
Mhm.
let's assume that you have Nick Chubb in the backfield. You have then we're going to run a heavy set here, a heavy formation with Hooper and then Harrison Bryant. But then they want to throw that 3rd tight end in there. Is that blocking Pharaoh Brown, or is that going to be more of your athletic Stephen Carlson? Who do you think that 3rd tight end is going to be?
I don't even think it's a tight end. I think it's Kareem Hunt. And you really
Interesting. Yeah.
and you put a mixed bag out there because Kareem Hunt has great hands. So you throw Chubb in there and Kareem Hunt and that tight end, that's going to keep defenses up at night. Like, geez, what are they doing right now? And it's a little, it's a little sophisticated, right? Like, what are they doing here? Why is and even Stefanski and some of those other folks have talked about it. They're like, yeah, Kareem Hunt could be the third or fourth receiver easily. So, and he's got so it'll be interesting. I I think Stefanski, I have said this since day one when they hired him. Like I know we were all on this, even I was on the hype train for, Mr. New England, coming and the 12-hour interview, and I was like dead set, like I thought he was coming. But my nephews are huge Vikings fans. And they were just like, yeah, good luck with that. And it wasn't like, yeah, good luck with that. They were kind of mad that we got him because they know how good of an offensive coordinator he was. And they knew he was a kind of rising star. He just seems so matter of fact with everything. He's so intelligent in
Very
his
correct.
interviews. He's spot on. Landry's like, we have a leader in the locker room. It's like a whole different dynamic. And these guys haven't even been around each other that much because of COVID. And you can all of a sudden, this team seems kind of galvanized. Like Baker is focused. OBJ's like, I got unfinished business to do in the land. It seems like these guys, to Ali's point, they're all aligned. There's an alignment here, right? Like all of a sudden the stars are aligning for the Browns, and it's like it's kind of weird, right? Like
It is weird.
everybody's on the same page. Okay, if you're here or not doesn't matter because we got the pieces in place. There's not a lot of drama. Have you noticed how much little drama there is this offseason?
They're under the radar. They're
Yeah.
flying under the radar, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. So let's dive into this before we transition here. I want to talk a little bit about the trade market for David Njoku. I was able to run through some articles and see some trade scenarios, some really interesting ones. Dustin, have
Mm-hmm.
you heard anything? I'll run through some of the ones that I have, but offhand, do you know of any that you think would be a good fit or a potential trade partner?
For the Browns?
Yeah, for David Njoku.
Um, no, I haven't because it's
Okay,
so new. I think
it
it's
is.
kind of and I think there's a lot of speculation out there. I don't even think the Browns know what they're going to do with
I
David
yeah.
Njoku.
If I had to be honest, I think they're going to sit on this for a while.
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to happen anytime soon. But some really unique ones that I was able to see. Some of these I can't even believe that I'm about to read these off. They're ridiculous, but they're fun. They're fun.
Right.
The
They're
first
good
one,
for they're good for the show.
they're good for podcasting. The first one doesn't have a trade connected to it. All the other ones that I have here do have a trade, but the first trade partner would possibly be the Cowboys. I have seen some speculation there. They do need a tight end,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not for that tight end one position, but maybe a 1.5 kind of two guy.
Right.
Some possibility there with the Cowboys. But these are fun. So the first one I come across was the Redskins.
Mm-hmm.
You trade David Njoku in a 4th and a 6th round draft pick for Brandon Scherf.
Mm. That wouldn't
Uh,
be bad.
the guard, yeah.
Right.
Definitely will fill out that offensive line to
Right.
be maybe one of the best in the league, arguably one of the best in the league at that right guard position. But some more exciting ones.
Well, here's
Uh,
the thing. Back to your Cowboys
yeah.
trade. Did they give any kind of what that trade would look like?
No, that one's the only one that I don't have a potential.
Well, here's the thing. Jerry Jones has never been afraid to deal with high maintenance players. That's never, I mean, T.O., he's had everybody there, right?
Yeah.
So Njoku, he would be like, I have no problem with this guy. And not that Njoku's that way, but I think he would take a risk possibly.
Well, they need help at the tight end.
That's what I'm
At the
saying.
tight end
Like
position.
back to my point, is it a team that is it a need or a want for a team, right? So for the Cowboys, it fills a need, right? So
It
they
does.
and so it'd be interesting if they do that trade. If we get our friend on, Kevin Ray, that we want to get on a couple
Yeah.
weeks, that'd be a little interesting thing to
Love
talk.
to get his take on it. But I
Yeah.
think with the Cowboys, and we talked off air, I think that the Cowboys are a lot of fun to watch just given their offensive scheme.
Mhm.
Um, what Dak Prescott's able to do this year, obviously he was franchise tagged. You have Zeke there in the backfield, Amari Cooper, and then they got to
He'd
get
be,
CeeDee
he'd be a
Lamb.
great compliment for Amari Cooper.
He'd be fantastic. I would like to see him in that offense.
Yeah.
But let's move on. So that was the Redskins. I like this one, the Jacksonville Jaguars. You trade David Njoku and a third round draft pick for Yannick Ngakoue.
Hmm. That
Not
won't be
bad.
bad.
Not
Although,
bad.
although I think he would void that trade. He's like, you're not sending me to the Jacksonville
Yeah,
Jaguars.
probably not. But I would love to get Yannick Ngakoue. I
He's
would
like, he was
fun.
probably like, I will stay in Cleveland before you send me to the Jacksonville
Here's
Jaguars.
one. Here's one. I can't even believe, Dustin, I'm about to read this off, but here we go. The Los Angeles Chargers, you
Hmm.
send David Njoku, a first round pick, and a fourth round pick for Joey Bosa.
Ooh.
Interesting. And the article
With a Olivia and Vernon restructure, I don't know.
exactly. I don't
That
think
doesn't make sense. Yeah.
it doesn't. And the same thing with Bosa. His fifth year option was just picked up as. Did they? No, that was. He's going into his fifth year. But nonetheless, I mean, going into a contract year for Joey Bosa obviously would be a short time here in Cleveland for him unless they restructured his deal. But I thought that was funny. A first and a fourth round pick, David Njoku for Joey Bosa. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. The next one, you'll love this one too. To the Jets, David Njoku and a third round pick for guess who? Jamal Adams.
I would take that in a heartbeat.
In a hot minute. In a hot minute, and I wouldn't even cry about it.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that secondary? It's all LSU.
Yeah.
All of them.
That'd be fun.
That'd be a lot of fun. Grant Delpit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like I said, I think it's a little premature. I think give this a week or 10 days, and I think we'll know a lot more once all the
this is
guys
just
are.
fun for us on the show. This is
No,
all
what I'm saying,
silly talk. Yeah.
but I think in 10 days from now, we'll have a pretty good idea if he's staying or going, and I think it'll be interesting to see if they even do shop him. They may say, you know what, we have him on a fifth-year option. He's part of our offense. If he wants to leave after the end of the year, great. I just don't think the Browns budge unless they can get a good deal for him.
Agreed. Last two on here that interesting. Obviously my favorite's the Jets, but let's go over to the Colts. That obviously fills a need for them. You could do a straight up trade, David Njoku for Malik Hooker.
Okay.
Add a safety into this secondary, which we obviously know that we need.
Yep.
Would be a good fit. Then another interesting one. Go
Well,
ahead.
and Andrew Berry has a history with that organization,
Mm-hmm.
so that would be a potential trade partner for sure.
Yeah, it certainly would. It would fill a need for them, and it would certainly fill a need for us. Basically, just straight up trade. Both have injury concerns, so both former first round picks.
Yep.
Not bad.
Not bad.
And then lastly, this one kind of made me chuckle, but Tampa Bay trade straight up tight end for tight end with OJ Howard. Obviously, they have Gronk there. They have a really good receiving core, a pass catching core there in Tampa Bay with Tom Brady throwing to him. But OJ Howard did have some question marks going into the season. They were shopping him around tight end for tight end. I don't think he fills a need in the Browns organization, but it's certainly.
And I don't think the Browns would swap player for player. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, now if they get something else out of them or a draft pick,
mm-hmm.
they may send him to Tampa, because I think Tampa in a lot of ways is playing for 2 years here. They're kind of all in, right? This is
in the next 2 years.
Well, Gronk comes out of retirement.
Yeah.
Tom Brady goes to South Beach, or not South Beach, but Tampa.
Go down to
going to the sun.
Colorado. Yeah.
But I just think this is a 2-year thing, and they're like, well, Njoku, former first rounder, I think I can get the most out of him down here. That makes sense. Indianapolis makes sense. It's pretty well documented that Jamal wants the heck out of, New York.
Yeah.
So, well, and here's the thing, who I don't know this. Maybe Jamal and OBJ are friends. That might work out. They're both from New York. They're from different teams, but you know how these players are. They all hang out together. I mean, we learned that even from the whole thing with Myles Garrett last year. Baker knew what's his name? Is it Hodges, the quarterback? Like they grew up together down and competed against each other. So a lot of these players know each other off the field in different capacities. So there's 3 or 4 trade partners there, but I think they'll keep their powder dry and try to take the best offer for sure.
I agree. Let's do a quick transition. Real quick, guys. Here later on the show, we are going to open up our phone lines. We've got a quick little segment for you. Lots of fun. We got prizes coming your way.
Can I show them real quick what they're going to win?
Yes. Hit them with it.
So guys, our good friends at McGrew Designs took care of us once again. These are cool little custom made koozies. And look at this, or here's your koozies and then the mug you get. So one winner, caller number 7 and caller number 9 tonight, get this one. So 2 custom, by the way, these are one of a kind. Nobody else is going to have a mug like this. And they're going to be like, where the heck do I get that? They ain't going to get one. It's a one of one.
One of one.
So that number is 216-249-6861. Allie also put that in the comments. Anybody that calls between 1 and 6 and calls in, we're going to take a quick question from you. We'll write it down and take that call once we hang up. But if anybody wants to call in now, we have your prizes. So let's do it.
And Dustin, before we transition to the segment, why don't you tell the rules of the little contest we're going to have here? That way we can kind of get that started.
For which contest is that?
Or for our callers here to win the prizes.
Oh, yeah. So if you're caller number 7 or caller number 9, you win automatically. So as the calls come in, you win. So you just have to call to win. So that's easy enough. And then if you want to ask a question, if you're caller number 7 or 9, you can as well. But anybody else that calls in, drop us a quick question and Allie and I will address that. So the phone lines are now, got a call. Here we go.
Got a call. Let's take it.
Here we go, Brownies. This is Allie and Dustin.
Hey, what's up? This is Paul Jameson.
Hey, it's Paul.
Oh, what's going on, man?
Oh my gosh, it's Paul.
I started this show.
Hey, how are you, brother?
I'm good, man. How you guys doing?
We're cracking at it.
Hanging in there. We're hanging in there, man.
Yeah.
So do you have
Allie's what's that behind Allie? She's at Lake Erie or?
No, so that's
Dirty Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
That's the Dirty Myrtle. So that's Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I asked her the same thing.
We got the sky wheel here. We got the beach.
I was like, you have a Ferris wheel?
I'd represent where I'm from or where I'm at.
Yeah.
Wow, so that's not a green screen. That's like real life stuff.
Oh no. This is a green screen.
Okay.
I wish it was real life. That'd be pretty cool.
I'm doing fantastic. People ask me all the time. They're like, "What's going on? Why haven't you been around and everything?" And so I've been trying to go after this beautiful young girl. So I've been busy with that and working, but getting pretty pumped up for the Browns season.
Hey, if she's the one, Paul, you gotta. If she's the one, you gotta lock that down. That's what I say. If you know she's the one, you gotta go after it.
I'm working overtime.
Nice.
Well, what do you think for the Browns? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
For this season.
Yeah, so he said he's pretty pumped up, Allie. Paul, she said, what do you think your prediction is for this year, Paul?
Last year I said 10-6, and I wasn't even close. This year I say you give the ball to Nick Chubb, and Myles Garrett's going to have a chip on his shoulder. So I say 10-6, worst case scenario. They might be even better than that.
I said 11-5 personally. I think Allie did say 10-6 as well. And the only reason I said 11-5 is because we actually have a little easier schedule.
Yeah,
and we might get lucky on a couple of those. So.
And we've got a plan in place.
Myles Garrett's going to be fierce this year.
Yeah.
Chubb's a beast. And I think Kevin Stefanski, I think our offensive scheme, Freddie was clueless out there. So we're going to actually have some structure to what we're doing and some reason,
Oh, yeah,
Baker's on the fence, so I'm not doing well with number 6. I think he underachieved last year, and he's got to step it up this year. There's no excuses with these tight ends, this running game. I mean, for crying out loud, I could take him at least 10-6 out there with my bad shoulder.
Well,
I'd pay to see that, Paul. I'd pay to see it.
Well, I tell you what, he's definitely got the weapons, and he's got the offensive line to protect him for sure now. So it's
You're
Baker's.
right, Paul. No excuses. It's do or die. We've got alignment. I say that, I oversay alignment, but we've got plan in place. We've got structure. There is no excuse. It's do or die out there. Sink or swim, Bigger. Let's see it.
Yep. It's true.
Yeah, I'm going to have to teach Allie a new word other than alignment. That was a go-to last year.
I can't. I'm still on board with it, Paul. It's the way of the world for me.
That's funny. Well, it's good to hear from you, Paul.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for stepping it up. I was nervous. When I told Allie, I'm making my move on this girl, and I was like, man, everyone's like, Allie's a pretty girl, and me being on camera with her is just tough for me to get to the girlfriend and doing all that. So people don't understand because I just wanted to make sure everyone knows I'm a friend of the show, fan of the show.
Hey, the friend of the show, one of the friends of the show. Obviously, we'll have you anytime. We appreciate.
Well, just like you said, Paul, you started this, and we love you. So
yeah, we appreciate you. Forever grateful.
Yeah, well, keep it going. When those big sponsors come, send me a little thank you gift.
No, of course. Well, anytime, Paul. Right. Call in. Oh, we're doing a virtual happy hour. We're doing a virtual happy hour Friday, by the way, Paul, if you want to join us, 8:00 Eastern. So.
All righty. Well, go Brownies. Keep up the excellent work and just keep going. This show's got great potential. I'm cheering you guys on.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it, Paul.
All right. Go Browns.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.
All right. See you. Bye.
That is.
Here we go, Brownies. This is Dustin and Allie.
Hey, this is Dave Burns. How are you guys tonight?
Hey, Dave Burns. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
So you are caller number 2. Doesn't mean you can't call back in to win. But what's a question you have for Allie and I before we hang up real quick?
I had left a message on last week when you guys were talking to the boy from England. What's the odds with the season being without fans for the first 4 weeks?
Okay. All right. We will answer that off air, and we'll take a few more calls.
Okay, thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Dave. Call back in so you can be.
I will.
All right. All right, folks, keep calling in. I know we missed a couple calls there when Paul came in. That's caller number 2. So we're up to 3, Allie. So
yep, and the phone lines are open, guys. So while we're waiting on that, let's go ahead and answer Dave's question. He says, what are the odds with the season being without fans for the first 4 weeks? And that's good friend of the program, Dave Burns. Great question, Dave. And Dustin, interrupt me if we get a call, and I'll jot it down here. But you know what? I've got to tell you, I think that the odds at this point in time are becoming higher and higher. As we're in July, Dustin, we're in July, going into the middle of July. And I can say for Myrtle Beach, it's an absolute hotbed, a hot place. So at this point, I think if things continue in the direction that they're headed, of course, we might have an NFL season, but I can't say that there will be fans, especially for that first 4 weeks.
We got a call, Allie.
Let's take
Going
it.
to the front. Are you there? Who's this? Nope, I lost him. All right.
Give us a call back. Give us a call right back. We'll have you on. But
Are you there?
Having some technical issues, possibly.
All right. Can you hear us? You are caller number 3 now. Give us a call back. All right. Bye.
All right. So yeah, Dustin, I'm just gonna keep talking. You interrupt me if we get a call.
Yeah. So I'll just hop in there as well. So anyway, guys, 216-249. We are up to caller number 4. Keep calling in. I saw another call come in, but we're just trying to get those come in. I'll get you on the phone. We're up to caller number 4. I am going to go a little off script here and say, I think we're going to have a season and we're going to be in week 1. I had this debate with a Baltimore Raven fan in the office, if you can believe it or not. And he told me there wasn't going to be a season. And I said, you're absolutely crazy. I said, there's too much money involved. I said, they will have a season, even if there's not fans, we'll have a season. And I said, and I think even if they don't think they can have fans in week 1, we're rolling. Like you can't turn the clock back on this, because if we do have a vaccine in October or November, we're going to be into December. And if you delay this season, maybe you just have to have no fans in the seats for 4 weeks. Do I think we may not have no fans in the seats for 4 weeks? That could be a possibility. But we're going, and I finally got him to come around a little bit on this. I said, think about this though. Oh, we got a call.
Let's take it.
Are you there?
Yeah, this is Dustin.
Yes.
Dave Burns.
Dave Burns, call
Dave
number
Burns
5.
back again.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Keep calling.
All right. I will.
All right.
What is he? Number 4? We got.
We're up to number 5 now. Hey, somebody give Dave Burns a challenge here. Come on. Dave's going to win this.
I mean, we love Dave Burns. He's a big friend of the show, great friend of the program.
But no, I do think what'll happen there in that situation is you'll have the game starts, and if it has to be on a 25% or whatever, and then if we, it's just kind of like the reopening stages for everything, right? If we have to be closed down a little bit, keep the game safe. And what kind of talking with my coworkers, I said, think about this. We all love to go watch the Browns in the seats, the ones that live in Ohio or can go to a game. But the majority of folks watch on TV. They go find their favorite pub or their favorite Browns backers or anything on a Sunday, and they go watch it, or they got direct TV. And I said, that's how a majority of people watch the game. They'll still play it without fans. They're doing it in Europe with soccer. I said, they'll go forward with football. There's just too many sponsors. There's too many people that love to watch the game. Sure. I think you just maybe won't have fans. So just to keep it safe, back to that, these players will be in a bubble, right? So the players will stay in Cleveland, or they'll stay, they'll make sure they're all getting tested or whatever, and they'll stay away from public places. Got another call. How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet is Dave Burns?
Let's see.
Are you there? Hi, this is Dustin.
May 7th. Am I 7 yet?
You're number 5. Who's this?
5.
Who's it?
I was 5 last. This is Dave Burns.
Oh, it's Dave Burns. All right, so no, you're number 6. You're number 6. All right, you're number 6. Sorry, you're right.
Just keep calling, man. Just keep calling.
Right. All right, guys, there you go. Dave's gonna win this if you don't call back.
Yeah, you gotta give us a ring. We do have a comment from Johnny. He says he's on his cell phone watching, so I assume he isn't able to give us a call if he's watching the show that way. So Johnny, we appreciate it.
Let's find out his name.
Yep, I got it here.
Okay, so I think this is Dave. We're gonna give him a prize.
Let's take it again.
Let me guess. Dave Burns.
Hello?
Who's this? Hi, this is Dustin and Allie.
This is Dave Burns.
Dave Burns.
I feel like he's changing his voice every time he calls in. It sounds different.
Dave, I want to know if you're drinking or are you just changing your voices when you call in. All right. So.
I'm old school, and I got a crazy flip phone.
Oh, you got a flip phone. Okay.
It's on the last limb, I think.
All right, Dave. Dave, what's your so send Allie and I a message to the Here We Go Brownies page on Facebook so we can get your address and stuff. We've got a koozie coming your way, 2 koozies and a custom made mug. But if you can comment to the show page, Allie and I will give you we'll get you some stuff out for sure.
Okay. Hey, I just have a little thing with the thing with Dave. I don't believe he's going anywhere this year. I think the Browns are going to end up keeping him there. Okay. And hopefully Baker don't try to force the ball to Beckham to make him happy, and everything will go fine for the tight ends and everybody else.
No, I agree. I think there's some definite. What do you think, Allie? I think there's definitely an opportunity that he stays for sure.
Oh, I absolutely agree with that. I don't think that the Browns are in any hurry to trade him right now, and I think that it.
Okay. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. We appreciate you. Go ahead and shoot us a message.
He's on a flip phone, by the way.
What?
Yeah, he said he goes, I'm old school and I'm on a flip phone.
Look at him, Dave. We appreciate you. Thank you for giving.
We got a call. Got another
Let's
call.
take it.
Are you there? This is the Here We Go Brownie Show. Are you there? Can you hear us? Hi, who's this?
This is Josh.
Josh, how are you, Josh?
How we doing, Josh?
How are you? Go
Good.
Browns, go.
Go Browns, go,
Browns
Josh.
go, my man.
So Josh, you're caller number 8. So if you call back, you'll win a prize. But what is your question for Allie and I that we'll answer offline? Are you there?
Yes.
Is this Josh?
No, this is Rich, householder.
Oh,
Now we
Rich.
got Rich on here.
All right, so Josh.
I asked you what the number 3 caller, and if I was using my home phone, it wouldn't go through for some reason.
Well, guess.
So I tried my cell phone.
Well, guess what? You're calling number 9, my friend. You're calling number 9. Josh was
Awesome.
Josh was 8. By the way, Josh, I didn't mean to hang up on you, but if you can put in the comments your question to Allie, we'll answer it. But and sorry, give me your name again.
We got Rich on.
Oh, Rich. So, Rich, you're calling number 9. You're getting 2 koozies, a mug. We love you. Thanks for supporting the show. What question do you want to ask for Allie and I?
Offense or defense? Which one do you think is going to be better?
Offense
That's
or
a good
defense?
question.
Which one do you think is going to be better? Okay.
All right,
I
let's
love
take it offline.
Offense, defense. We'll answer that offline. And by the way, if you'd like to join us for our happy hour, 8 o'clock Friday night,
Right.
we're going to do a virtual happy hour. We'll give some more prizes away, but it'll be fun to interact with all the other Browns fans. We're going to do that through Zoom, though, not Skype, but we will send that link and invite you in. So if you want to join. So just this Friday at 8.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Oh, and if you could comment in the section on the Here We Go Brownies page with your information so we can email or mail you this package to you as well. So we'll have all that information.
All righty. Thank you.
All right. And we'll answer your question. Offense or
Thank you,
defense,
Rich.
which is going to be better?
Great question from a good friend of the program, Rich Householder. And Josh, thank you also for calling. Sorry to hang up on you. But to answer your question, Rich, offense or defense? You know what I love about this question is that it's so broad and so general. What do you think is going to be better?
So subjective.
It truly is, because I'm like, I try to be intricate with the Browns. When I'm doing a deep dive, I want to say, okay, let's take a look at the secondary, or let's take a look at the defensive line. But if I had to if I'm going generally speaking, I think the defense was our stronger suit last year. Obviously, I think the offense was a crapshoot, but don't even get me started on that. But if I'm going into 2020, I'm going to put my money on the offense. I think it's going to be electric this year. Now, and I say that because we have some question marks on the defense. Still kind of a question mark and a half over the safety position, and then, of course, at the linebacking group. So I'm going to put my money on the offense.
So you're going offense would be better than the defense.
Yeah.
So I'm going to answer this in a little bit different way.
Okay, let's hear it.
I think we will finally, which will be very enjoyable to watch, we will be a very well-balanced football team.
Okay.
I think our offense will be as good as our defense.
Mm-hmm.
And our defense will give us opportunities, and our offense will obviously capitalize on those opportunities. So I think Myles Garrett's going to want to have a breakout year. Not saying I don't love the 95, but I do. Wearing it again, proudly. I think our defense will do very, very well this year. And I think our offense will be put in place to help Baker succeed with the offensive line. So I think our greatest strengths will be our greatest weaknesses. And so I think they'll be evenly matched. And I think the reason that will be, and that will bode well for football games. So when we get to the fourth quarter, we're in a good position, right? Like we know if our defense needs to go out and win a football game first, it will. Or we won't have to rely on our offense. If we have a 7-point lead, we know that defense can go out and get a 3-and-out. If we're down by 6 or 7, we know the offense can come in and try to win that game. I really think Stefanski, with his crew of who he has as offensive coordinator, down to Callahan, all these guys, it's going to be a very balanced, well-oiled machine. I just feel that in my gut. We're going to go out there and go, you know what? And I know as Browns fans, we've done this for so long, like, oh no, here's going to be the 2-minute, it's the 2-minute, prevent defense, right? Oh gosh, they're going to, go down the field 60 yards. I've seen this before. I don't think we're going to feel that this year. I think we're going to go, we have a 7-point lead. Okay. I think the defense is going to hold. I'm not worried. You know, I think we're going to be well balanced, and I don't think one's going to be better than the other, and they're going to complement each other. So I guess I didn't really answer the question, but I did. But I think we're going to be well balanced. It'll be equal, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, Dustin, real quick, we've got some really cool questions here in the comments that I'd like to get to, and we'll wrap up the show with that. We are going a little long here, but first, I'd like to read this comment from one of our friends of the program. I'm going to butcher his last name, Johnny D'Ambrosia or something like that.
D'Ambrose.
D'Ambrosia, something like that. I apologize, but Johnny, he puts in the comments, big shout out to my cousin who passed away. He's a big Browns fan. His name is James D'Ambrosia. We will be wearing all Browns gear to the funeral. So, Johnny, I'm sorry to hear that. We send our condolences, our thoughts and prayers to you and your family. I love the fact that you are representing the Browns. That's, that sounds like something that he would want, obviously, as a Browns fan. So
he's smiling from heaven.
Goes out to you. Yes,
he's
our
smiling.
heart goes out to you. Yeah, so sorry to hear this.
That's pretty cool, though. That's pretty unique.
Yes.
And it just goes to show you, I always tell people, like, what, I mean, and Alan, you get this too. They're like, well, why aren't you just a fan of the Patriots? Well, you could be a fan of the Ravens or any team that's a winner. And I don't think until you're a Browns fan, you really understand the dynamic. Like, it's loyalty, it's integrity, and it's like a badge of courage you wear on your shoulder. Like, yeah, I'm a Browns fan. What are you going to say about it? Wouldn't you agree? It's kind of that way. Like, you walk around and like, you're a Browns fan? I'm like, yeah, I am. What are you going to say about it? Yeah. And they're like, well, and you know what they say to you? They're like, wow, man, you're loyal. Like they kind of step back and they're like, that must take some serious loving. I'm like, yeah. But it just goes to show you how Ohio people are, how they love their community, how they love their teams. Because Browns fans, Indians fans, Cavs fans, Buckeyes fans, they're all passionate. They take it, I always tell people it's a religion in Ohio. It's like another religion. Like, literally, like, people, plan their day around whatever's happening in sports, and they just galvanize to it. And I always tell people, and I'm getting off on a little bit of a tangent here, but when they moved the team and they moved it to Baltimore, one of the things that I hated the most about the move was the mayor of Baltimore taking his mug and slamming it on a podium saying, "We have landed the Browns." And in my heart was like, no, you haven't. You aren't going to take our name. You aren't going to tarnish our history. And what's ironic about all of that is, in the history of the National Football League, only one team in one city in the entire history has been able to keep its colors, its name, and its history intact. No other football team has ever been able to do that. And I think that just shows how much that city and that team means to that part of the country. And it's interesting. The Raiders move, all the records go with them, all that goes with them. The Rams move, all that moves with them. The Tennessee Titans were the Oilers, but all that history goes with them. That didn't happen with the Browns. They literally just stopped playing for 3 years and all the records started again. And so for a city to do that's pretty unique, and it's just kind of unheard of. So
you're right. I like that little tangent, little historical tangent. I like that.
Yeah.
Dustin, real quick, we've got about 10 minutes. So let's do some rapid fire. I've got some really good questions here in the comments. Let's rapid fire these. Good friend of the program, Brian Hewitt, he says, a question for the both of you. Who will be the most popular player this year for the Browns? The one that gets everyone excited when they touch the ball. Will it be a veteran or a rookie?
Well, veteran's a kind of an interesting word, but I'm going to go rapid fire here. Chubb, NFL rushing leader.
I'm here for it all day. I love that guy. But is he going to be the most exciting player or the most popular? Probably not. He's more of a quiet guy.
He's here's my thought on that. Yes. So, our good friend, Jim Donovan jumps up and down in a booth.
Hubba wubba hub.
But I'm saying, if he gets past that second line of defenders, he's gone. And he's like, and I think he could be electric in that way, because I know defenses are afraid if he gets through, because he's such a powerful player and he's so low to the ground and he's so fast. Once he gets past that, he's gone. Like, he's just off to the races. And then defenses are just like, well, there he goes. Like, he's very smart. Yeah. Nick Chubb is a very smart player. So I do think he could be very dynamic in the fact that oh, you think we're going to pass? Well, look, we just handed it to Chubb. Oh, and he's gone, right? Like, I think he could be a very dynamic player, and he could be a game changer for us in a lot of ways. Because I look back at that Baltimore Ravens game, that guy single-handedly a couple times deflated that entire Ravens football team.
Yeah.
They came back in that game at Baltimore, and then Chubb said, well, how about some of this? And came right back and just deflated that team, like took the air out of that stadium. Because anytime you have a dynamic player that runs down the field for that many yards, it's tough to come back. I mean, football is a game of momentum. And when you can do that with a running back, it's pretty dynamic.
I think you're right. I love Nick Chubb. I think he's the most dynamic player on the team. I love this guy. I love what he brings to the table. And I think he leads by example. So once you get, like, to answer his question, Brian, like, once he gets the ball, you know something's going to come of it. But I'm going to answer this a little bit differently. Just from in terms of popularity, looking at the Browns and kind of going out and exciting the fans and just being that dog. I think of Jarvis Landry, a great leader on this team, a man of character, leads by example.
Takes a hit and catches the ball.
Keeps going. I mean, the guy is an absolute animal, and he wants to win. I mean,
he's a workhorse.
He is an absolute monster. So I think of veteran, I think of Jarvis Landry. But when I think of Jarvis Landry, I also think leader. And when I think of leader, that's somebody who can carry the team.
Oh, sure.
And
yeah.
I think Baker might get there eventually, but he's going into his third year. I think that Jarvis has been there. He's won enough, and he's been around, he's been around. And I think he's going to be that exciting factor. Obviously, OBJ, he's extremely popular, but to get the fans all riled up on game day, I think that's Jarvis Landry. Let's move on.
I guess that'll be up for debate, right? I'll go with Chubb.
Ooh, I don't know. Here's a good one. What do the Browns do at the right guard position? So we dive into this. I could talk offensive line all day, every day. I'm such a nerd when it comes to the offensive line. But real quick, let's dive into this, because if you go back a couple episodes where I interviewed NFL.com's Nick Shook, he had a really unique answer to this, because I asked him, I said, what do you think about the right guard? They go out, they get Jack Conklin, Jedrick Wills. What do we do at right guard? My initial thought was it's Wyatt Teller. Obviously, they go out, they get him. He was a pretty solid piece. You have Drew Forbes behind him. Those in my eyes are the two probably competing for that position. But he said, what about Chris Hubbard? They restructured his deal. He's a Cleveland Brown. Last year, he was our right tackle. He's played everywhere on the offensive line. He's played tackle. He's played right guard. He's
very versatile. Yeah, he's very versatile.
He provides a little bit of an anchor there, and he can be that athletic guard. And
he has the experience, right? He has the experience to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think when push comes to shove, I do think it's going to be Wyatt Teller at the beginning of the season. But maybe at the halfway point, you might see a Chris Hubbard in there. He can be that swing tackler, that swing offensive lineman who can play on multiple ends of that line. The
best part about what you're saying there, Ali, is there's actually competition and depth, which is not something we've always had to talk about in the offensive line, right? So that's exciting. Like, hey, there's actually two guys that actually can compete for one spot. That's a good problem to have. So for the first time in a while, we actually have some stuff that's very interesting.
So I'm going to wrap up with this one. Actually, before we wrap up, we have to wrap up with one important thing. But a quick question here by our friend Michael Newport. He says, will Chubb lead the league in rushing? Yes.
Yes.
And do you see him eclipse 2,000 yards in a season during his career?
Ooh, well, here's the thing. We know Stefanski's offense is run and tight end happy. So, and we have an offensive line that's been readjusted. He could do, and we don't play the toughest schedule this year. I mean, it's not the craziest schedule. Maybe he does feast. Maybe he gets close to that this year. I mean, what did he have? Like 1,500 yards last year?
He was up there. My quick answer to this is yes, he can lead the league in rushing. Obviously,
2,000's a lot, though.
2,000's a lot with Kareem Hunt in the backfield as well. So I think in 2020, the answer is no.
Yeah.
Some point in his career, yeah, absolutely, because we're starting to see, that especially with the Kevin Stefanski wide zone scheme, where it starts with the play action, it starts with the run. I
Yeah.
think at this point, yeah, he absolutely can if that plan stays in place. But right now, with Andy Janovich, Kareem Hunt in the backfield as well, sharing carries, no, I don't see it this year. Maybe the next couple of years, but not this year.
No, but I think he can have a ton of yards this year for sure.
Oh,
Definitely,
absolutely.
but he definitely could be the NFL rushing leader
Without a
easily.
doubt. Yeah,
But
without a doubt.
just because of the offensive line alone, all the stuff that we went out and got on the offensive line. I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening there.
Dustin, let's end with this. We've got one more piece of information that we have to throw out there. We'd be remiss if we
Is that a
didn't talk
happy
about
hour?
it.
Is that a happy hour we're having?
We are having that, but real quick, I have to talk about this because I
Okay.
haven't yet, and I feel like if I don't talk about it, I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight.
Okay.
I want to talk real quick on Olivier Vernon. We mentioned this at the beginning of the show, didn't quite get to it, but they restructured his deal. What does this mean for the Cleveland Browns and what's it look like? So prior to this, before the contract was restructured, he was going to make 15.25 million, not guaranteed, until the start of the season. Right. They restructure that, basically making him a Cleveland Brown going into the season, eliminating the potential chance of us signing Jadeveon Clowney. It's $11 million guaranteed with a $7 million signing bonus. 3.75 base salary, a $250,000 workout bonus, and $2 million in incentives. Guaranteed.
So he almost gets to what he wanted anyway with the incentives and the bonuses. Yep. Correct. It's a good deal. And it's a good deal for the Browns, and it's a good deal for Olivier Vernon. I
just had to talk about that because I think
it also means Allie and Dustin can stop talking about Clowney now.
It's thank you for finally wrapping that up. We can finally stop saying what's going on with Jadeveon Clowney because I'm getting tired of it. I'm getting sick of it, man.
Yeah.
Dustin, real quick, why don't you take it away?
Yeah.
Plug the happy hour one more time. Give them the details.
So, folks, thanks for calling in tonight. Thanks for our winners. That was great to take some of those calls and hear from our friends of the program. Paul, thanks for calling in. That was super awesome and super surprising to hear from you. So that was great for you to give us a shout out and give us a big old cheerleader to keep going and make it great. So that really means a lot to us. Oh, and we've got a call, Allie.
Let's take it. Let's hear from him.
Here we go, Brownies. This is Allie and Dustin.
Hello?
Hi, this is the Here We Go Brownies with Allie and Dustin.
Yeah, this is Joshua Leonard. I called in earlier.
Yes. I'm sorry, what was your name? Say it one more time.
Joshua Leonard.
Hi, Josh. So, would you like a prize? We have one more prize we can give away.
Heck yeah, we do.
All right. So would you do me a favor, real quick? Can you just drop a comment in the Here We Go Brownies inbox with your address? We'll get something out to you. And then real quick, what question do you have for Allie and I to answer?
Yes. Who do you think who will pick up for David Njoku?
David Njoku, who will pick up as a trade partner. Okay. We talked about this a little bit earlier in the show, but Allie and I will give a couple comments.
We'll give our predictions. Let's give our predictions.
We'll give our predictions on who we think we would get in a trade with them. And we'll answer that off, but please drop in and we'll get you something out to you. And thanks for calling back in. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Josh. Sorry we hung up on you earlier. Thank you for giving us a call. Go Browns.
All right,
Dustin, real quick, before we wrap up, we will do our kind of quick predictions on maybe not so much what we think we're going to get in return, but let's do a quick landing spot prediction.
Okay.
Where do you think David Njoku is a good fit?
Dallas Cowboys. Makes sense.
It does.
100%. I'm going to go with Dallas Cowboys, and I think they have a little bit of stuff they can give us. Maybe
I'd agree with that too.
He's a good trade partner. He's still young, but I don't know if he goes. Yeah, I think we're going to keep our powder dry. He may be around because here at the end of but at the same time, if I'm the Browns and I'm got my crystal ball, he can just walk too after this season, right? So do we not get anything for him or do we trade him, right? So they're you have to look at those things. So I think the Cowboys, that's my pick.
I've got an interesting one.
Okay.
We didn't talk about this earlier. Initially, I want to say like the Redskins. They obviously need a tight end. But if we're looking at the landscape of the NFL and who's really taking the next step to really compete, what about the Arizona Cardinals?
Maybe. Yeah.
You know, kind of the belle of the ball this year, kind of like what we were last year. And real
Oh.
quick, we'll get into that. You know, they go out and they get
Well,
DeAndre
Fitzgerald's
Hopkins.
not getting any younger. So
Right. They need weapons for Kyler Murray, just like we
Yep.
acquired weapons for Baker Mayfield.
And they got the money, and they've got stuff if they want. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, and to wrap up, our good buddy Brian Hewitt just reminded us, jam-packed show, guys. So much to get to fit into roughly an hour. That the Browns did sign Jedrick Will. So he did sign his contract. So we'll get into those details maybe on Friday.
Yeah.
On the virtual happy hour. We'll kind of bring up some stuff that maybe we weren't able to get to. So thanks for bringing that back up, Brian. Appreciate that. Dustin, let's go ahead and wrap up. Any closing thoughts from you?
Just everybody, thanks for calling in, and what a great show tonight. This was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Friday, 8:00 Eastern, RSVP to our inbox if you want to be part of that. More prizes. This is just going to be a free for all. Nothing, no pressure. We just want
Casual.
we want people to pop in, tell us where they're from, tell us their history with the Browns, and just have kind of a free for all. We're just looking forward to have a little fun and have a fun Friday night.
I think we all need that right now. We all need a little fun.
I think we all need to take a little pressure off. Yeah.
Yeah, need to relax, just have a good time. But
Yep.
Lots of fun on this show tonight. Lots to get to. We're excited, guys. Thank you for joining. If you're new here, thank you for checking us out. Go follow us, share us, subscribe, do all that good stuff. We appreciate you. Guys, stay safe, stay healthy.
Yeah.
And as always, go Browns.
Go Browns.